was my fault. It wasn't my fault. It was this fault. It was that person's fault. You have to make your decisions because you've got your own free will to make a decision.
Humanitarian perspective, do we pay that forward enough? Are there a shortage of people stepping forward, lifting their head above the parapet? People may have an opinion. People might still have a negative opinion on how I'm living my life.
We're good.
Gentlemen, good to see you. I think we're all feeling a little bit frazzled over the holiday period, these bugs and flus and everything that's going around, but it's good to see you both. Just really quickly, last week we was talking about mentoring, and we was talking about it. We seem to be focused mainly on young people. However, as you raised, Mike, this isn't an age-related thing only. But is there anything that either of you want to kick off with to carry on from last week? Winston, Inch, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to talk about choices and decisions, really. About I know with what you've just said, it's not just focused on young people. But I know we spoke about something last week, but I just wanted to kind of get our take on it, really, because yes, young people have the ability to pick a mentor or a role model, if you like. I think we mentioned under the age of 12, but for me personally, I was slightly a little bit, I won't say uncomfortable with it, but I think yes, that can happen. They can make the choice and stuff like that. But I just think as parents and as guardians, we just got to be a bit careful and really that we do have some sort of influence in that decision, because it can go. Winston mentioned last week, it was Pele and Michael Jackson, which I'm going to put tick to both on the face of it. Obviously, there's other things that were going on behind, which we won't get into. But I wouldn't have been too displeased if my child was, had Michael Jackson or Pele. But on the downside of things, that's a positive here. But it can also go wrong as well, where a child picks somebody who. Perhaps on reflection, isn't somebody that would be comfortable our child being associated with. And I'm saying there has to be checks and balances. There has to be some engagement from, and I'm going to insert the word appropriate, but and I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to insert that in there, and we'll see where we get with that.
Yeah.
We need to be some buy-in or some influence from an appropriate person, just to make sure that young person hasn't associated with somebody that might, for want of a better word, do them harm.
Yes. Yeah. I'll go with that. Win?
Yeah, 100%. I think I mean, look, we're dealing with young people, so and I know how us three, how we feel about young people in terms of, wanting to be, first of all, good mentors to the younger people that are around us, whether in a community, family, or whatever. And I gave the kind of illustration or the picture of a plant when it's young. You put that bit of cane beside it so it grows up straight, and that's what we want. We want the young people to grow up with morals, values, and we want them to be good citizens. And it takes a community to do that. There's an old African proverb where it talks about it takes a community to grow up one child. It's not about just mum and dad. The mum and dad generally just can't do it on their own. They can, but when you've got a massive community around you where they're behaving in a completely different way, it's like swimming against the tide. So with young people, we really want to kind of like there to be kind of some positive role models. What do you do when they pick up negative role models? That comes with its influences, and it doesn't matter if you go good or bad. It's going to influence you in a certain way where you're going to come to a road where you're going to have to ask yourself questions. You're going to have to, even as a young person, if you've got a negative role model, it's going to make you behave in a certain way. That's going to make you get to a point where you're going to have to question, am I going down the right road? And then you're going to be made that you're going to have to make that decision. Yeah. But staying on the young thing just for a little while before we go into the older thing.
Wayne, can I just ask you a question though? So should we allow a young person to be able to make that decision for themselves? Would you say?
I think in certain cases you have no choice, because this is why you've got young people that are extremely determined to get what they want to get. And you can see it with young kids when they're like even 2. You tell them to do something, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah. So they're already stubborn, they're already strong-willed, and no matter what you say, behind your back, they're going to do their thing. Come on, we've all
Right.
been there. Okay,
Right.
let's
Right.
let's be real.
No, let's be honest. We're being honest. Yeah.
We've all been in a situation where our parents said, "Don't go this way," and we'd like, well, I'm going to go that way because there's something that I
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
gain from going in a different direction. But we will come to a point where we have to ask ourselves that a question of, am I going to continue to go in this road if it's a negative one? And what I've found is your mentor, your natural mentor, will come into your life at that point. And then you've got a decision to make if I'm going to go down the right route or the wrong one. It's entirely up to you. You have free will. Everybody has it. No matter how strong we feel as parents, your children have free will, and they're not always going to go with what you feel say you want them to do. So that's where I will kind of end it on, like, the younger generation. It's good in our community, 100%. In terms of talking about role models and mentors, it's great. But when there's not, it can cause problems.
So if I can just say something here regarding that, I think you're right, Win, in the sense that I don't think there's a lot of choice, Mike. I think we as young people will pick people. Now, just to kind of bring all this together, because we've been speaking now, this is our second podcast speaking about mentoring.
Yeah.
And we had a conversation offline, and we're kind of amalgamating a few different definitions here. So we need to kind of just clarify that really quickly. So the definition I've got, and I just want to make sure that I get it right. The definition I've got for a mentor is an experienced and trusted advisor. That's the dictionary definition of, or one of the dictionary definitions of the word mentor. Now, we're talking about being influenced. We're talking about people that we're looking up to. Now, when it does come to picking, because I hear you've used that term, Mike, a few times, which I agree with, which is the checks and balances. What we're going to do with this, how we're going to get our young people to do this. Now, the reality is, I've picked one or two mentors, people that influence me, if you like, along the way. Now, I found you don't even know whether it's a good mentor until hindsight.
In certain situations, yes.
How would you, well, please, no, enlighten me. How would we know not in certain situations? Because I don't think until you've done it, until you've followed that person through and you've taken their advice, taken their guidance, and then got to where you want to get to, then you can go, good mentor.
Okay.
That's what I mean by that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's the way that I'm looking at it. But so we've been speaking about young people. What about, say, for you guys now? You guys still look for mentors?
Yeah. For me, because I like to think that I like personal development. I like the fact that I'm trying to evolve and I'm trying different things. So when I'm looking to go into a different thing or a different concept, I look who's out there, and I do like the word receipts. I like track records. I like experience. Do you know what I mean? People that have been there, done that, worn the t-shirt, whatever you want to say. So yeah, I'm constantly looking for mentors or people that have kind of excelled in a particular discipline, So yeah, for me, I don't know why you wouldn't really, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to absolutely be like that person, but it would be prudent, I would say, to kind of try and get best practice or whatever you want to call it, where you can.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's a good way of doing things. Do you know what I mean? Particularly when you are inexperienced in a particular discipline.
Nice. I couldn't. Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. Win? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'd agree. A mentor is someone that's going to offer you advice and probably going to have better skills than yourself.
Yeah.
Because of their experience. So not only would I advise it, especially if you're not skilled in a specific area and you want to be, then go and get yourself a mentor. And that could be anyone. Again, it could be a family member, it could be someone from your own workplace, or it's someone that you actually pay to give you those skills. I mean, there's tons of information out there on YouTube and other other parts of social media where you can get experience, knowledge. For me personally, I had an experience where I got to a point where I was kind of a little bit fed up with what I was doing at work, and I want to get to experience what managers do. And I actually I think I spoke to Mike about that because I'm Mike.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
You're a manager and you're a professional in that area, and I spoke to you about it, and which led me on to kind of going to speak to somebody at my workplace, and I actually said to them, look, I want to become a mentee. I want you to mentor me, because I want to know what it's like to be a manager. I want that experience. So I was quite fortunate that this person, took me seriously. They knew that I was, I'm a kind of person that wants to better myself. And I went on a mentor. I had a mentor for a year, which led me to getting into a more professional role as a manager later down the line. So I can see the benefits of it because I've reached out. I've got the mentor or the menteeship, and it's actually benefited me because I've gone on to become a manager as a result of it. But it was that willingness to want to do something more, or to better myself, or to improve my income, whatever way you want to put it. But for me, I'd reached the peak of where I was in my particular job role, and I wanted to do something more. I want to experience what the next level was, and that was management at that particular point in time. So yes, I'll endorse it 100%.
I like that.
Okay, so I just off the basis of what you guys have said, what I find interesting about is when you've deliberately looked for a mentor there, and again you've gone to somebody else who you're tight with, as in Mike. You've sought advice from him, guidance from him on that, because he's a guy that's been in that position, and you've taken that, and that all works out perfectly. And then, without going back to the young people bit, but when you encouraged me to share this story last week, which I didn't, because there's a fear of arrogance on my part. But I'm going to share this story really quickly because it goes to the other side, which is, I think, Mike, what we was talking about before, which is there's these accidental moments of inspiration. There's these accidental moments of flipping hell, I didn't even realize. So really quickly as I can, I had to take a class in a complementary education unit. So these are young people that have been expelled from mainstream school. They're put into these units to go and learn their education there. And I went into one of these to go and give a talk. Gave the talk, it was fine. There was one young guy who sat at the back and he didn't say a word all the way through. And at the very end, I said, look, before I go, nothing to do with the class, can I show you something where I'm a bit of a nerd? Because I was getting on with these young people, it's fine. And they went, yeah. So I showed them, and all it was a size comparison of planets that we found out in the universe. So it was showing that our planet Earth will fit into the sun this amount of times. Then they showed Betelgeuse that the sun fits into like 1 million times, and then another one, and so on and so forth. This young person at the end come up to me and he went, Nick, is that real? And I said, yeah, as far as I'm aware. That young person was so inspired by that, not the thing that I was paid to do, but the bit at the end, that I've since found out that he's left a complementary education, went to college, went to university, and is now studying astrophysics.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
Now, that's not... Now, the part of me being arrogant...
I thought he was playing up front for Man United.
Now, for me, my bit here is, when I met him again later, I remember him asking me and saying, have you got more information on that? And I said to him, no. I showed you the limit of my knowledge here. You've now surpassed me, your teachers, and anybody else, and he's run with this. So that's he's doing. So he's then fell into he didn't get up in the morning and realize he's fell into something. I'm so interested in this. I'm so engaged with this. So it was just something that grabbed his passion. So for me, when we was talking last week, afterwards, that's a real success for me to have the smallest part played with that young person. Do you know
That's
what I mean?
big. That's absolutely big. No, I'm just saying, you know, those sliding doors moments
Yeah.
where you can go, you can go left or you could go right. Because would he have woken up that morning to think, you know, that you were gonna say what you said? He was going to be interested in what you were. And I think, where does all that come from? I don't get that.
It's a lottery, right?
It is, but I'm saying, but you know, in terms of that whole mentoring thing, we've all three of us probably can testify. We've all received help along the way, haven't we?
100%.
I don't believe in coincidence. These things happen. I said it earlier on.
Yeah.
You go through life and you get to paths, and then you got decisions to make. We can talk about coincidence and stuff like that in a later pod, but you get to paths in life where you're gonna have to make certain decisions, and somebody will come into your life, and they will give you guidance, and you can't say it was my fault. It wasn't my fault. It was this fault. It was that person's fault. You have to make your decisions because you've got your own free will to make a decision. But the universe will guide you to go the right way. Generally, there's someone will come into your life who will tell you, look, that's not the right thing to do. I've said this in numerous pods that this will happen, and it happens to me now. That people will come into my life and they will give me guidance. So with regards to your young man that you inspired, it's great when someone comes into you cross paths with somebody, and you're mentoring them, and then their life gets they've been changed by your experience so much that they can now mentor you on a specific subject. That is absolutely amazing when things like that happen, and it does touch the heart.
And it's the same thing here and I know it's a soppy kind of thing to say, but let's be honest, right? The two people sitting in front of me now have mentored me. I've been inspired by it. I've taken, you know what I mean, guidance, advice. The amount of times that I've been told, that's the wrong road, don't go down that road. And here's the reason why. Here's the rationale for that. Okay, it makes sense. So this is what I mean. It can be people around you. And we spoke last week where I said to you that I need to be honest enough to know where my shortcomings are, my shortfalls are, my weak areas. And then I would want to go to that person to be guided on that issue. That person to be guided. I don't think there's one person that's got the whole package. I think these are
generally not.
Do you know what I mean? It's just bits there's pieces for this, pieces for that. That's the way that I look at somebody that I'm trying to. My partner, the amount of guidance and learning I've had from her is unbelievable. And yet there's some areas that I just think, nah, you're wrong. And I'm okay with it.
Absolutely.
Do you think then, guys, that there's a shortage of that? Because as I said, you know, I'm hearing some real good success stories here, but do we, not us three, but as from a human nature perspective, from a humanitarian perspective, do we pay that forward enough? Are there a shortage of people stepping forward, lifting their head above the parapet to become good mentors? Because everybody, as I said, we've benefited along the way. We've had people come in to our lives that have touched us in different ways, that have played a part in us doing whatever we're doing. Winston talked about being a manager. You've done, you know what I mean? Where you got to, Nick. I mean, I'm sure there was a sliding doors, remember, which got you into therapy and counselling. And likewise with me. So then I'm saying not just us, I'm saying we should pay that forward, really, shouldn't we?
When?
I think, personally. In terms of, you know, the next generation and the generation behind, being those good, you know, being mentors, sharing experience, sharing information. Do you know what I mean? I think so anyway. And I think sometimes that doesn't always happen.
I think, at my core, I know that that's what I do. Whether it be mentoring, coaching, or just giving positive information, that's what I do at my core. I cannot help doing that. In fact, I do it so much that sometimes I give so much time to it that it impacts me. And the things that I want to do because I want to help people so much. And sometimes you have to ask your question, is it time for you to now get some mentoring and some support, some help to get to the next level? For me, that's kind of where I am at the present moment. I'm kind of like, I need to do some more mentoring.
But do you think it's out there though for people? Do you think it's something that's probably that, you know, that needs to be a bit more kind of celebrated, a bit more. for
I,
people
I
to
think you're
come-
right because okay. Let me look at it this way. When you look at all the people that we know in general, how
Yeah.
many of them are mentors?
There you
I
go.
mean,
Yeah.
who are professionally doing it. When
Yeah.
I say professionally doing it, they've got activities that they do outside of their 9 to 5, where they're working with younger people or older people to improve that person. Now, I can only speak for myself. I know I've done this outside of my 9 to 5. Or if I wanted it to be, I wanted it to be my 9 to 5. That I do that on a daily basis. That's how passionate I am about it. So let's say, for instance, I was a builder. In the evening, I still want to do mentoring. If I worked in as a football coach, in the evening, I still want to do mentoring. I still want to
Yeah.
mentor people. I still want to coach people,
Yeah.
help people to be a better version of themselves. But going back to your
Yeah.
the second part of that question that you asked, I feel that I don't feel that there is a not. I don't think people have become more selfish nowadays. They're just thinking about what they need to do, and that's cool because people need to be that way. They might do, but there's diamonds within the community that, and I spoke about it before. There's a lot of people that go into youth work, and they're going into youth work because they want to help younger people. Or there's people out there that are going. They communicate on platforms because they want to help mature people be better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
So there are
Yeah.
people out there. I don't think there is enough to deal with what I would call a very difficult time that we're living in at the present moment, because we're going through times, I believe, that we've never experienced before with regards to the internet, AI, social media, and all of this stuff. We don't know how this is really going to impact 50 years from now, when we've got younger generation that's growing up, more time in the home, not really spending that much time around other people apart from their school, within school. And that's not really spending time because you're learning, you're in classes. So do we need more people to be mentors? I think at this present moment, yes, I do. I think the older
agree.
generations, the uncles, those people that have like the definition of a mentor as that experience of life, they need to talk about it more. And it's a great platform for what we're doing at the present moment, because we're talking about these kind of things, and other people will talk about these kind of things. So it will become more available to people. But I do think we need more people to be engaged in kind of improving things or improving themselves. I'll leave it at that.
If I can say that, to give the other side of what you guys are saying, what the question that you've asked, Mike, is: are there enough people out there doing it?
Yeah.
I would agree that people are becoming more selfish. I think there's reasons for that, and it's not just trying to excuse, but I think this rat race that we're living in, people are kind of so on edge about sorting out their own stuff that they then feel, I've got no time to do that, I've got to sort my own stuff out. So you've got that side of it. The other side of it is, and I'll be really interested to hear both of your point of view on this, but I think from going back to a young person looking for a mentor, I know we're not just sticking with young people, I think all of us are going to be looked at by young people. No matter how off key or on point we are, young people are going to be looking at us. And like I said to you, the one that I looked at is no longer with us as a young person, that I looked at as a mentor. When I look back now, now, was he actively trying to be a mentor? Sorry, let me turn it off. Was he actively trying to be a mentor to me? Absolutely not. He had no idea that I was looking at him for guidance. And that's why I'm saying to you, Mike, sometimes I don't think there is. So we need to, for me, everybody needs to play their part in how they carry themselves. Simple and plain. Because young people are going to be looking. They are going to be watching. Our humour, me and you, Mike, and Winston, we spoke about humour that we would like to have on the podcast. Now, we all know that some of our humour is not fit for consumption. We know that.
Inch eyes is the humour. Definitely.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, okay. All right, so allegedly, our humour is not fit for consumption.
Allegedly, yeah.
You notice I said inch high instead of Michael when I said that. Good reason.
But we know that the reason why we're toning it, the reason why we're keeping a lid on that humour, which we could let loose now, but we know the reason why we're keeping a lid on it is twofold. One, we want to be able to carry on doing this, but why? Because we know that there's going to be a lot of people watching this, something that we're talking absolute rubbish, great, and then some that are going, actually, there's something there. And if young people see this, then I want them to see three maturer guys trying to work some of this stuff out, so that they can realize I haven't got it figured out. These three guys haven't got it all figured out. The inspiration of that honesty, it goes back to you when we was younger. I followed that guidance. I followed that, whether you knew it or not. I was following that. The organisation that I take from you, Inch, the trying to be organised. These bits, I haven't come to you and said, right, I'm watching you guys for this. But I've taken that from you.
Absolutely. And it works vice versa.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All the way, yeah.
But it's also really important that that as people that are viewing, that it's not just about, it's more about listening to what we're saying or having a conversation with us and realizing that as maybe you're a mature person, not necessarily a younger person. Younger people might be listening to what we're saying, and they can benefit from that conversation, or they can see that these guys have been mentors, or they've got experience in certain areas, and they can get guidance. But also for mature people to kind of see that you've got wisdom that younger people don't have, that you could actually gift somebody, and even just that little thing, because that little conversation that you had with that guy, Nick, that was just a brief experience that you had with him. Might have been 5 minutes.
I didn't know that, by the way.
It's completely changed it. Completely changed that young person's life. So we all have that kind of ability to kind of like give somebody a gift, and not being aware of it. And it's just a matter of communicating and talking to people sometimes, and just not just being humble about how you approach things. And there's a young person out there that's going to be, or potentially can be influenced by you. It might be you might be that person that's at that young person's crossroad, and you have something to say, and that will make them go left or right.
Yeah.
So we have to be aware of that. That's a potential.
And it's still leaving the weight of it, the work of it has been left with that young person. All I done was I showed something that was of interest to me. So that person's then grabbed that and run with that. They've done it, and they've done it within an hour. They've done more than I'd ever done with it.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So they're now
there was
putting the
something
work
about that. You sparked something in that young person that's made them grow. And even as a younger person, even when let's say I'm 8, 9, 10 years old, I've still been able to be an inspiration to my peers. So young people out there, you don't have to follow a specific, action. I'm going to say, if you've got something within yourself, talking to young people directly, if you've got something that's deep down in your spirit that tells you to behave in a certain manner, follow that spirit. That's what's going on within you to be different, because you're meant to be different. I realized that I was different when I was at a very young age. I didn't need to follow nobody. I already had something inspirational within myself that I felt that I need to kind of like who I need to be like. I didn't need to follow nobody. And Nick, you know that because you know me a long time. You guys know me a lot from a very young age. I'm not a kind of person that follows other people. That's not what I do. I follow what's within.
I wish you would.
Generally. I didn't want to.
Just saying.
But then I would have supported Arsenal instead of Liverpool. So.
Can I raise something before? Because I'm conscious of time. And it was a comment that was made, and we do like comments, don't we? So this is a direct shout out to viewers, because this is our opinion. We're not saying our opinion is right, but we're not even saying it's wrong, but we're saying it's our opinion. So we love and we welcome opinions. But there was an opinion that was put on last week, and I haven't got the comment directly in front of me, but I've kind of memorized it somewhat in my brain. And it was a comment that an individual put on there last week, who will be nameless, because all comments are nameless. But what the person said was that to replace a non-parent with a role model or mentor would be embarrassing. Did you guys see that comment?
Yeah, and
I just want to get what
it's a fair point. It's a fair point, and it depends on perspective, and it also depends on exactly what that person meant. But
yeah,
I think from some people's experiences is that and we spoke about this last week. Your parents is your first kind of mentor, isn't it? Having parents around would influence you. You know, we know that would influence you. So it really kind of, for me, I would have to speak to that person directly to kind of clarify what they meant.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I think from what I understand, I think they've got a good point, because you would expect your parents to be your first mentors, right? And I think that's what that person was trying to put across. And the fact that we have mentors, I think that what that person meant was that they're replacing your parents, which they shouldn't. But not all parents have all of the skills to do the job. And we spoke about that before, and being a parent is something that you learn, and even whether you're young or whether you're old, you're not necessarily prepared for that experience unless you come from a community that shows you how to be a parent. And being a parent is a different thing for different people, and this is the kind of world that we're living in, and this is why it's good to have these discussions. Absolutely. But I think what that person was trying to say is that I think that parents should not, or mentors should not be replacing parents. That's what I think he was trying to say, or she was trying to say. So look, it's a very difficult one, because I don't know the actual, where the person was actually coming from with that statement, but I think there's legs in it.
Nick, did you want to have your say before I say what I need to say? Yeah,
I did ask for clarification. I did send a message back saying, can you clarify the embarrassing part? Because I didn't know. Yeah. Because to use the word embarrassing is then somehow demeaning. And this is where Win and I, because I think Win sees, tell me if I'm wrong, Win, I don't want to speak for you, but I think he sees glass half full a lot more than I do. I think he tries to see the good in a lot of things, but for me,
I get that.
If I'm saying to somebody, you haven't, so let's take the message direct.
I mean, my view is this. I mean, I think sometimes language is important. I was slightly uncomfortable, and again, we don't know, because we've not spoken to this person, so we are building pictures to a certain degree, because we haven't got the person hasn't got the right of reply. But based on what I saw, or I received it in a way, I was uncomfortable with the use of the word embarrassing. I didn't understand that really fully, because if a child is growing up in a household with either the mum missing or the dad missing, and then they go out and look for a positive role model to kind of fill that gap, if you like, I don't know how that becomes embarrassing. I actually think that's actually a major plus. That shows me that person is actually being quite forward thinking, and thinking actually there might not be the requisite skills or knowledge within this framework or within this household, and I'm going to go outside to fill that gap of speak to somebody who might be more experienced in a particular aspect of life. So for me, I would have to give kudos to that young person. I would have to, because I think that's quite forward thinking.
I am hearing Winston. Sorry, Mike, finish. Sorry.
No. I understand what Winston. I hear him what you're saying, Winston.
And that's what I'm hearing, because the guy could be. Sorry, the guy could be saying because the parents are gone, That's the embarrassing part. He could be
Well, we
saying
don't know
no.
why they.
That's what I think 100%.
I know, but we don't know why they come.
We don't know,
why.
but it would only be logical. It would only be logical that because
for example, that person could have been deceased. For all
well,
I know.
100% exactly. So
that's what I'm saying. So based on I don't know.
Well, the lack of probably good parenting is where he's coming from, and saying that because, or he or she, because I don't even know if it's a male or female, it's embarrassing that they have to have mentors because there is poor parenting. Maybe that's the direction that person's coming from. And like Nick said, I'm looking at things from a glass half full than a half.
No, I respect that. I respect that.
And maybe the way it's been put across was not, not exactly how it was meant to kind of come across. But we don't know. But at the end of the day, it's a good point, because no matter what angle we're coming from, it's something to discuss and debate, isn't it? So,
and I like that, and I like the fact that he took the time, or they took the time, I should say, to make that comment. It would have been, even if you're watching this now, it'd be, it would be nice and helpful, because I think we have tried to reach out to you, and if you've got because maybe we might be going down a lane that's not accurate. So if it's something else and you are watching this, please come back to us. Let us know. We'll be happy to have that conversation with you.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just coming off of that topic, but mentors are, a part of, life. They're there regardless. You're gonna find them. Depending on, it doesn't matter. You're just gonna have people that come into your life that will give you guidance, and some of that might be negative. So again, like what we said before, is teaching, is people, it's not even young people. It's having the skills to kind of see what's positive and what's negative, and what angle that's coming at you. So being aware of who you are and what you want in life is really important.
And being aware that you are going to be, whether you like it or not, you are going to be viewed by people that are going to look at you and be influenced, good, bad, or indifferent, by you. They are going to be. Just in your day-to-day dealings with the world, people are going to be looking at you. So I try to carry myself in such a way that, well, I'm as genuine as I can. But if a young person does look and say, what's this guy on? It's not going to take him anywhere bad. That's the hope.
Yeah.
So I'm always kind of keeping an eye on that. Mike, I'm so scared of your response.
No. I wasn't saying anything. No, because because I think what I was thinking in the back of my head, people will always have opinions, right?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? Because we can't be all things to all people. And as long as, in terms of this moral compass, as long as I'm, being true to myself, do you know what I mean? That's all I can be. And if somebody doesn't, people may have an opinion. People might still have a negative opinion on how I'm living my life. That's just the way of the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. But here's the maturity. Say, for example, where I'm saying to you that, going back just really quickly, that comment that the person made that I don't think is useful. I don't think it was helpful.
Yeah.
The way that it was framed.
Yeah.
Me and this gentleman can completely disagree on that. And as far as I'm concerned, he could still be my brother.
Yeah, it could be a Man United supporter, so you agree on the same thing there.
Well, could be.
We're both in a struggle together. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But that's all right, though, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's all right.
Of course
that's all right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
It's just not everything as friends, we don't agree on everything. So
no.
Come on, but, we're still gonna get on, isn't it?
100%.
There's still love there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm conscious of time. It's 40 minutes gone by. And we've communicated about mentoring young people and being a mentee, and the fact that within our community we're constantly being watched in terms of what we're doing by people, whether we're aware of it or not. And there's people within our local area, whether they're young or old or same age as us or indifferent, that we're constantly communicating with and probably being mentors or mentees too, or taking advice from. So it's something that it's within community. It's done professionally also. So I mean, there's loads of different areas to mentorship, and I think we've got another 2 sessions on it, so we can kind of explore it a bit more professionally from a professional point of view. Maybe next week, and when we have Anthony on, what do you reckon?
100%. And can I just say,
is he a regular?
So-
Is he resurfacing next week?
I don't think next week, but the week after for sure.
I'll prepare for that then.
well, can I just say to you two here, I think we've done the best we can do considering that we're all kind of under the weather. I think we've done well today.
Yeah.
You know, we've shown up.
The flu's been rife. It's so bad that our properties are changed into exactly the same properties as well. Just for the viewers, that was because of technical issues. We generally do our recording in the evenings, and today we're recording in the afternoon, and I had some lighting issues, some serious lighting issues. So yeah, we decided to go for the same decor.
Do you know what's annoying me? Looking at the backdrop on that, I don't ever want to see the backdrop when I turn this off. It my real one.
It's all right, isn't it? It's all right.
We'll have a go on that piano later on.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Gents, peace and love.
One love. Bless.
Bless.